रोटी खाओ वरना मेरी गोली तो है ही। ये नया भारत घर में घुसकर मारता है। चुन चुन करके हिसाब लेना, ये मेरी फितरत है।
एवरीवन, वेलकम टू न्यूज़ चैनल। नमस्कार। मोदी जी ने दो पर्टिकुलर रिफॉर्म्स कुछ दिनों में अभी लाए हैं सामने, एंड बहुत लोगों को ये नहीं पता है। एंड वो रिफॉर्म्स का लाने का मतलब ये है कि हम आज का नहीं, अगले 20 साल के बारे में सोच रहे हैं और 20 साल आगे के बारे में सोच रहे हैं। Now, Modi ji is what he's trying to do is he's throwing out legacy systems. A new India does not need stupid, irrelevant legacy systems in place. ये जो सिस्टम चले आ रहे हैं बहुत सालों से, बहुत दिनों से, ये सिस्टम अब नहीं चाहिए। रिफर्बिशमेंट ऑफ द सिस्टम हो रहा है। देयर आर लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स जो आप देखेंगे अभी होते हुए करके। एंड ऑफ लेट अभी एक डेवलपमेंट हुआ है, वो मैं आपको बताता हूँ एक दो दिनों में। संजीव सान्याल, जो मेंबर ऑफ प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजरी काउंसिल है, PMEAC, सेड इंडियन जुडिशियल सिस्टम इज आउटडेटेड। उन्होंने ये कहा कि इंडियन जुडिशियल सिस्टम जो है वो आउटडेटेड है। ये हम सब लोग को पता है बहुत टाइम से। आज की तारीख में आप जुडिशियल सिस्टम देखें, वो एक ऐसा सिस्टम है जो सालों साल जहाँ पे रिफॉर्म्स नहीं हुए हैं, वो ऐसे ही चले जा रहा है जैसे इंडिपेंडेंस के टाइम से चला जा रहा है करके। आज भी ऐसा हाल है कि इंडियन जुडिशियल सिस्टम के रोस्टर में अगर आप देखेंगे तो छुट्टियों की भरमार लगी हुई है, और जहाँ पे काम करने की बात कर रहे हैं तो दे हैव द लीस्ट नंबर ऑफ वर्किंग डेज। वन ऑफ दोस सिस्टम्स दैट इज देयर टुडे प्रेवलेंट इन इंडिया। तो हम थोड़ी सी बात करते हैं मिस्टर संजीव सान्याल के बारे में। In February 2017, he was appointed as the principal economic advisor to the Indian Ministry of Finance. And in that job, he helped prepare 6 editions of the Economic Survey of India. और फरवरी 2022 में he was appointed member of the Economic Advisory Council to the Prime Minister in the rank of Secretary to Government of India. अब संजीव सान्याल जो है वो उन्होंने रिप्रेजेंट किया हुआ है इंडिया को एट G7 एंड OECD मीटिंग्स पे भी। अब उन्होंने कहा, और ये एक NDTV फोरम, इकोनॉमिक फोरम चल रहा था मीटिंग, वहां पे उन्होंने बोला कि इंडिया इज अ यंग कंट्री एंड इवेंचुअली वी वुड ग्रो ओल्ड एट सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम आफ्टर मे बी 20 years, एंड दिस इज ट्रू एंड रेलेवेंट। हम आगे चल के कहीं ना कहीं, आज हम यंग कंट्री हैं, लेकिन 20 साल बाद आप देखेंगे तो हमें कहीं ना कहीं जो आज की वर्कफोर्स है वो थोड़े से ओल्ड भी होंगे। एंड इट विल हैपन, इट इज हैपन टू कंट्रीज लाइक चाइना, इट इज हैपन टू कंट्रीज लाइक जापान, सो इट इज बाउंड टू हैपन। सो दिस इज द टाइम फॉर रैपिड डेवलपमेंट ऑफ भारत। वो होता है ना कि यार, जो जब हम यंग होते हैं तो हमारे पास आत्मविश्वास ज्यादा होता है, हमारे पास बल ज्यादा होता है, हमारे पास शक्ति ज्यादा होती है, एनर्जी ज्यादा होता है। इन द सेम वे, आज जब इंडिया एक यंग इंडिया है, आज हमारे पास एनर्जी बहुत है, हमारे पास बल बहुत है, हमारे पास शक्ति बहुत है। तो आज जो हम रिफॉर्म्स या चेंजेस कर पाएंगे सिस्टम के अंदर, जो एक नया भारत के अंदर हम कर पाएंगे, वो शायद अभी से 20 साल बाद हम नहीं कर पाएंगे, बिकॉज हमारी वर्कफोर्स भी ओल्ड हो चुकी होगी। Now, Mr. Sanjeev Sanyal, member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council, जो मैंने बोला, he has slammed the practice of long judicial vacations। होता है ना कि ये judicial system में जो लोग काम करते हैं long vacations पे जाते हैं, he has called it as unacceptable part of India's legal system, and he categorically mentioned that this cannot go on, right? So there was an event which happened in the last couple of days, which was Naya Nirman 2025 event, and उसी में उन्होंने बोला, the judiciary is a public service like any other part of the state. I also work in the government, which he quoted, and I also take vacations, but the judges are very happy. The judges are very happy for themselves to take vacations, but why should the entire court system be shut down for this? Now, this is a very important statement he made. हम सब वेकेशंस पे जाते हैं, हम सब डिफरेंट इंडस्ट्रीज में काम करते हैं, but the entire system does not collapse, or the entire system does not get shut down, as in the case of the judicial system. Now, Mr. Sanyal also pointed out that, like any other public services, the judiciary should not be closed for long stretches, especially when essential functions like policing and healthcare continue. Very important. जहाँ पे हम देखते हैं कि जहाँ पे सिस्टम में पुलिस भी हैं जो काम करते हैं, हेल्थ केयर भी है जो हमारे इंडियन सिस्टम में है, वो भी काम करते हैं, और जहाँ पे अगर वेकेशंस पे वो जाते हैं तो एक लॉन्ग स्ट्रेच के लिए ये सब डिपार्टमेंट्स जो है अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते हैं बंद होने का या क्लोज डाउन होने का, right? And he also says, let's say some other profession does this. Let's say the doctors decide that they will take summer vacation, or the doctors decide that they'll take Dashera vacation or winter vacation and shut down the hospitals for large parts of the time, and we will have vacation benches for emergency cases. Would that be acceptable? That is the question he's asking. And he's very, very relevant in asking this question. कि जहाँ पे अगर लेट्स से विंटर वेकेशन या समर वेकेशन या दशहरा वेकेशन हुआ, वहां पे क्या डॉक्टर्स अगर छुट्टी पे चले गए या वेकेशन पे चले गए तो क्या वो हॉस्पिटल बंद हो जाएगी, या वहां पे स्पेशल बेंचेस लगाए जाएंगे, वेकेशन बेंचेस फॉर इमरजेंसी केसेस? नहीं होता है ऐसे. Then why is this today relevant in this new India when it comes to the Indian judicial system? So that's a very relevant question which is asking today, right? That why is it acceptable then for something that is effectively the responsibility of the state and as a citizen, something which we all should expect from the state and particular the branch of the state? Our judicial system plays a very important branch of a state. It is as important as maybe the police branch. It is as important as maybe the hospital branch or any other branch for you to take. And then the particular criticism is part of a broader call for reform within the India's legal system. So in the coming days, the good news is that you will see these reforms, the changes happening in the Indian judicial system. Now, Mr. Sanyal also emphasized the urgency of transforming the system, especially considering India's demographic window and the opportunity of economic growth. और उन्होंने बहुत बड़ी बात बोल दी. उन्होंने ये भी बोला कि एक विकसित भारत अगर विकसित नहीं होगा तो इसके लिए सबसे बड़ी रुकावट या सबसे बड़ा ब्लेम जो होगा वो होगा आपका जुडिशियल सिस्टम. So what he says is we effectively have somewhere between 20 and 25 years to become Viksit Bharat, right? And he also said, stressing that without changes to the legal ecosystem, India's goal of becoming a developed nation may remain out of reach. Now, this is a very, very important statement where he says that what we are trying to become a Viksit Bharat in the next 20-25 years, right? That goal of becoming a developed nation from a developing nation will remain out of reach if India's judicial system does not have an overhaul or a change at this point of time. So Mr. Sanyal also advocated for an overhaul of judicial and legal processes. He also pointed out the inefficiencies caused by unnecessary bureaucratic hurdles. And that's very true. Today you see there are a lot of bureaucratic hurdles which come in the way when it comes to एक सिंपल सा जीएसटी फाइल करने भी जाइए तो इतने सारे ब्यूरोक्रेटिक हर्डल्स होते हैं जो आपको पास करने पड़ते हैं. अगर आपको कोई नया बिजनेस या कोई स्टार्टअप या नया सेटअप लगाना है तो उसमें भी बहुत सारे ब्यूरोक्रेटिक हर्डल्स होते हैं. ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जहाँ पे आप एनकाउंटर करते हैं ब्यूरोक्रेटिक हर्डल्स, एंड दैट नीड्स टू गो अवे विद. व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट डूइंग ईज ऑफ बिजनेस एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स, these are some factors which needs to be addressed, which needs to be looked into, and that is where he says if we do not see a major overhaul of the entire legal ecosystem, it will, no matter what else we are doing in the rest of the system, it will not come to any context. Now, in his speech, Mr. Sanyal also pushed for a more functional, less stratified legal profession. He urged the legal community to embrace reforms such as simplifying the legal system and ending practices that, in his view, hinder the process. He also said the judicial system in particular, in my view, the single biggest hurdle to becoming Viksit Bharat and growing rapidly. The inability to force contracts in time or to deliver justice is now such a major constraint that I'm telling you, if he do not see a major overhaul of the entire legal ecosystem, it will not matter what else we are doing in the rest of the system. So that is the entire context of this first, couple of reforms we spoke at the beginning of our video. This is one of the changes you will see in the coming time, in the coming years, and this would be very rapid. And so now you would see a lot of reform changes coming in India, which would be in line with the vision of India 20 years down the line. एंड मेरे से अगर आप पूछेंगे तो मैं तो बोलता हूँ कि कम से कम फॉर द नेक्स्ट 2-3 months अगर आपको इमरजेंसी भी लगाना है तो इमरजेंसी भी लगा दीजिए, बट देन reforms have to take place. The overhaul of the reforms which are continuing for donkey's years today needs to change, needs to have an overhaul if we want to look at the future, if we want to look at the future of the next 20 years. Here, so this is something very good news for India in general. Now the next topic which we're going to discuss is जो next आप देख रहे हैं वो ये है कि मोदी जी has started his work on the big tech companies. जो big tech companies हैं, by big tech companies what I mean is Twitter, YouTube हो गया, आपका Google हो गया, Facebook हो गया, these companies. Now they need to be cut down to size. We all know it very well. These companies need to be cut down to size because they have started spreading entire narratives to cause regime changes in India. Right, we've seen a lot of attempts to make regime changes in India, and this is a very important step which is being taken. And these particular social media platforms, they have completely become out of control. Now, what is the smart thing which happened or which is being done now is that now through the courts in India, Modi ji has started pulling off wonders. Now, their so-called constitutional right, the social media platforms, to operate as foreign applications inside India was lost just yesterday. ये कल की बात है जो मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. Even a platform like WhatsApp has been fined rupees 220 crores. Now let's come to the main issue. What is this crushing blow that Modi ji is dealing with big tech? And how is he doing it? And how is he avoiding the mistakes which have been made in Nepal? Now WhatsApp is next in my view. If they don't shape up, they will face either a ban or restrictions. Now this is something which I feel might happen if WhatsApp does not fall in line. We've seen lots and lots of narratives which are coming on WhatsApp, and these narratives are basically being cooked up to for an attempt to destabilize India. Now this is a government's masterstroke, which I say, unfolding with surgical precision before our eyes. And let's try and understand this. For example, the Competition Commission of India has already fined WhatsApp 213 crores. Why? For data sharing practices. For 5 years, they will be monitored and cannot share data with anyone else. In other words, India made it crystal clear to this platform, we will not tolerate data colonization. Now, high news comes from Karnataka High Court. Their ruling stated that the foreign big tech platforms like Twitter cannot hide behind Article 19 of the Indian Constitution, which is Article 19 is the freedom of speech. Now, that right belongs to the Indian citizens rightfully, not foreign corporations, not even even foreign nationals for that matter. If any anti-India content is posted, the government can order to take it down and the platform must comply. This is as per the Karnataka High Court. Not only that, the user who posted it must also be identified. Now, this is a big step, when it comes to tackling these big tech giants. That is a very important step, I believe, which the government is taking or which the court is taking at this point of time. So finally, we see, there is some collaboration between the court and the government which is coming out. This closes off the back door that the deep state used to run its operations. To a large extent, The backdoor entry which the deep state used to follow the template of inciting things on social media platforms, and then people getting onto the streets, and then what all things used to happen. Now everything from Silicon Valley is now under, almost everything I would say, is would now be under India's control. Guys, this is a digital revolution which you're seeing today, right, unfolding right before our eyes. If anything, I mean, for an example, I would say if anything was posted right against the government, it would be spread to millions within an hour. And this is a practice we've been seeing to destabilize the government. But if you post something which is pro-government, it wouldn't go anywhere. Not even leave within hours. It would not go within days also. Why? It's because these people controlled everything. That is where I say this is a very important step. This is a very important reform which is being done at this point of time. Now, while the government quietly built a legal and technology infrastructure to challenge big tech dominance, and while Trump, he tried cracking down on H-1B visas in the US, there is something which the government is doing over here to contain its self-interest. And now strategic partnerships will be forced on big tech in India, just like Trumpet has, forced TikTok into an American partnership in the US. For the first time, what we are seeing is foreign companies can no longer hide behind the free speech to push their agenda in India. And that's massive. Please understand that's massive now. The second reform which we are speaking of today. Now these big tech giants, they must comply with the Indian law. Right? Already we have seen that WhatsApp has been fined 213 crores. Soon they may be forced to sell majority of their stakes to Indian companies, have Indian directors maybe on their boards, and keep all Indian user data physically in India. There's important development which is also going on where you see data centers are already being built inside India so that the user data cannot leave the Indian soil or the Indian land. And we also have, just to highlight to this, we also have the Sahyog portal, which has been launched as the centralized system for all the content regulation, ending all the fragmented approach of the past. This is also very important. Now, try and understand this is not a random move, it's a meticulously planned strategy. So, India is creating and crafting its own framework. Unlike China, we will not impose a total ban on or total censorship. Unlike the unregulated American model, India will bring regulation and sovereignty. In short, what you're seeing is you're seeing a new era of digital self-reliance beginning in India. Right? The government has opened a can of worms for big tech at this point of time. For the first time, the control over India's digital future, right, is not with the big tech. It's the control over India's digital future is shifting back into India's hands or into the soil of India. And that is very important when it comes to building narratives, when it comes to the deep state specifically. So these are two important reforms which are taking shape and which will help in building India in the next 20 years. The first is the judicial system, which is very, very important. There is an overhaul which is required. And whatever Mr. Sanyal said is 200% bang on. There needs to be an overhaul of the entire judicial system, the way it is operating since donkey's years. And the second thing is we are seeing an era of digital revolution at this point of time where digital self-reliance is now beginning in India. With this, I thank you for watching today's show. Please subscribe to the channel for more news, future updates, and future episodes. Thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Take care.